Hello, everybody. Welcome back in. So it appears that I am starting a new sketchbook today. I showed you this sketchbook in my birthday haul, and I decided to just start painting in it today. If you know anything about me, you know that sketchbooks intimidate me. And so this is kind of a big step for me, not to be dramatic, but it is. So we're going to start with this. This is, let me show you the back in case you missed that video and don't feel like looking at it. Indigo Artway. Indigo Artway is the name of the sketchbook. And just the brief description that it says on Amazon. First of all, that it's A6 in size. And if you want the measurements in inches, it's approximately 4 by 6 inches. It's like a little over 4 inches, a little under 6 inches. And so that's what we're going with today. And it says that every page is handmade and that it is 100% cotton rag paper. And obviously you can see the deckled edges, which I just love so much. So let's get started with today's painting. I'm also using my new Winsor & Newton tube paints that was my last video. I filled an empty palette with my tube paints, and this is my first time doing a video using those. I've always just used, the pre-made pan sets. So let's get started. I'm actually going to clip my book, mainly so this page will stay down. So just the weight, I've just got these clips I bought, oh gosh, years ago when I just had a little stint where I did, what is it called? Like I tried to do a travel journal because I was inspired by somebody else who was doing it. So then I'm just going to take a few of these pages and clip the edge and keep it all flat. And for today's painting, I'm actually going to flip this one under so it can actually lay flat. Today's painting, I'm going to flip it this way because we are going to paint a waffle cone today. So I want the length of the paper here. And the colors I'm using today, I've already just put them in my palette here. And if you didn't see this video, I don't really want to tip it too much, but I made this out of air dry clay. So I have a video about that if you want to watch. I'll link any video I mention in this so you don't have to look for them if you even care to look. So, all right, I have got alizarin crimson, and I have got burnt umber, and I've got burnt sienna, and I have yellow ochre. And so these three are going to be my ice cream cone. This is going to be my ice cream. And I'm going to start with just our basic shape of the ice cream scoop. And you can draw this in if you're more comfortable with that. I kind of have this, I kind of want to, but I also want to be loose. And so I'm just going to do a scoop of ice cream. I'm going to put a little bit of pink on it so you can just see what I'm doing here. I'm going to do just loose scoop here. Very light, I should say. Light and loose. I hope this whole painting turns out to be loose. I'm going to kind of let it, fluff out on the sides a little bit. Get a little more water, a little more paint. And I did have somebody, my granddaughter to be exact, say, you should make it dripping because she had an ice cream cone the other day and it was dripping all over. So I'm just going to kind of do that. And then we'll kind of draw or paint our cone around it and maybe add a couple little drips elsewhere when all is said and done. We'll see. Okay, and now I'm going to just get water on my brush and just wet the inside of our scoop. All right. And there's our little drip. And now I'm going to, with this very wet, I'm going to just start taking some color and making it darker in spots and lighter in spots. Probably darker more down at the bottom. And let me tell you, this is my first time trying this, so this is my practice, and that makes it very intimidating for me, and that's okay. And I have a feeling we're going to add some more pink down here, depending on how my cone is going to look, because you know how they kind of come down, and they kind of wrap around. I'm doing a waffle cone, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. And now I'm just going to dab this in here and there for some color variation, and that is going to be the first layer of our ice cream, and then we'll take a look at it when it's finished, or when it's dry, I should say. I'm going to add another little drip down here too. Okay, And before I add my cone, I'm going to let this completely dry so that we don't want these colors mixing with that color. It's just not going to be pretty. So let's let this dry. Oh, let me tell you something about this alizarin crimson. In my video in which I was filling this palette with my Winsor Newton tubes, somebody left a comment, Leroy Inc. left a comment and said that it was suggested that I take this color out of my palette and go with permanent alizarin crimson, because alizarin crimson is, this pigment itself is fugitive, which I was like, I don't even know what that means. And when I looked it up, basically, from what I remember, it says that it's not color fast, so it would fade over time. That doesn't bother me too bad with what I'm doing here, but I'm just telling you that if you're considering the Winsor & Newton professional set that has alizarin crimson and you want to do more professional type paintings to sell or whatnot, you might want to consider not using that one. So anyway, little tidbit of information. Thank you, Leroy Inc., for pointing that out. Now this is all dry and I'm loving how it's looking. I don't know if it's the paint or the paper or both, but I really like it. I'm going to remove the clip because I want my cone. I'm not really sure how the cone's going to go because I don't know if I want this strip to be on the side of it. Or like this, coming down the front of it. I think down the side. This is where I wish I would have drawn it out a little bit ahead of time, but that's okay. It's just going to be loose. That's what I do. And I am going to start with my yellow ochre, which is a good thing to start with because it's nice and light. And I'm just going to somewhat hesitantly draw my cone. You know, the ice cream scoop does not have to be centered on the cone. That's not real life, right? Kind of like it. I think it's going to be fine. So let's just, I'm going to fill this in with water now. And when I say I'm filling it with water, I'm just kind of wetting the inside of it. I don't want any pools of water happening. So you kind of have to like tilt your paper to see sometimes like what you have going on. If water is moving around, you're going to want to get some of that out of there. And if you don't know how to get that out of there, let me tell you, if I had a pool of water right here, I would take my brush and I would, let me see it, I would put it on my paper towel and I would just dry it off completely and then come right back in and it soaks the water right up. So, but I think we're doing okay. We just have a nice little shine on our cone here. And so I'm going to take some more of my yellow ochre. This will just be the base of our cone. I kind of want our cone to be nice and yummy looking and rich. Oh, by the way, I decided while my ice cream was drying here, I decided I'm not going to do the wraparound look. I'm just going to keep it very simple. And if you don't know what I mean, that's okay. If you do know what I mean and you wish the wraparound look was happening, you just have to pretend that I have my cone turned around so you can't see the wraparound, okay? Okay. You know, tweak your cone to whatever feels good. Now, I'm going to, while this is all still wet, I'm just going to kind of tap in some more colors so it kind of just looks like it's like a homemade little cone that got baked and it's baked uneven, and so it's got different coloring here and there. I didn't even rinse my brush off in between. I'm going to grab my burnt umber. That was burnt sienna, that orangey one. Whoopsies. Went outside the line there, not a big deal. And we're just going to dab it in here too. And then we're going to let this dry to see how these colors dry. Because look, I'm working with new paper and new paints. So I'm not sure how everything's going to dry. If it's going to dry way lighter. Because I found that pretty much with most of the paints that I've used thus far, they dry way lighter. Now this dried pretty nicely. I don't even know if I'm going to come back in. We're going to just, I don't know. I'll make that decision here in a little bit. But let's let our cone dry and then I'll come in and add the little squares. And this is all dry now. Okay, hilariously, the Pepe's ice cream truck just went by. I'm not even kidding. I wish I would have had my My camera flipped. Okay. Yeah, I'm very impressed with how these colors dried as well. But now we are going to come in with some of our, I'm going to mix a little bit of burnt umber into my burnt sienna and just do its own little color here and dilute it a little bit. And I'm just going to paint in some loose squares. Probably going to speed you through this because, you know, you don't really need to watch that. I'm going to, let's see. You could, here's a couple options. You could paint in some diagonal lines like this, which I might. I haven't decided yet. I'm telling you, I did not plan this. And then you can do diagonal lines the other way as well. And then you've got your squares. Or you can just go in and paint squares. I'm doing the lines. I'm going to do loose lines. They're going to be crooked. I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm just going to start right, where am I starting? Right down here. I'm getting a smaller brush. Yes, I am. That feels too big to me right now. So I'm going to get, that was a size 6. Oh, that was a size 6. This is a size 0. And so I'm going to get that mixture of burnt sienna and burnt umber. And I'm just going to start. You can see how much smaller that is compared to the one that I was using. All right, let's do it. We're just going to draw some light lines here. And you know what? They're going to be not perfect. They're going to be probably not spaced perfectly. They're going to be crooked, and I'm okay with that. I like wonky, you know, and I like loose watercolors, and so we're going with that. And I don't know if this is real or not, but I kind of made them way skinnier down here and, you know, kind of further apart up here. It's been a while since I've had a waffle cone, so I can't remember. You can let me know. Of course you can. All right, that one got kind of skinny too. But again, I'm going with these cones were handmade. And yeah, so they're charming. I'm kind of happy with those actually. I like the wonkiness and I don't think they actually look half bad. So now let's do these. We'll do the opposite way. I'm scared. I don't know where to start. I guess we'll just start going right here. Keeping them light, probably out of fear, and also maybe it's strategic. I'm not really sure. Probably mostly out of fear. Keeping them light. Ooh, I like it though. Okay, I have let this dry all the way. Actually helped it dry with my heat gun, but we are ready. And now I'm going to come in. You could leave it just like this. Honestly, I think this would be really cute if you just added some splatter and you can call it good. But I am going to take my burnt umber and I'm just going to make some shadows on those little squares. Not. So let's get some burnt umber. I'm going to have it pretty watered down, mostly again out of fear because I don't want it to be too dark. I'm just going to start with one over here. I'm just going to kind of make some little shadows to hopefully add dimension. That's the goal here. We'll see what it does. This one got a little bit too much on it, but that's okay. Again, we got homemade cones here, guys. Homemade cones. And I am speeding you through this part because this is very repetitive. All I'm doing, as you saw, I am just darkening the up arrow, basically, of each of the little diamond slash squares, which adds some beautiful dimension. Okay, I'm happy with how this looks. However, I'm going to add some splatter because it's summer and it's already a drippy cone. So I'm just going to come on back in here with my alizarin crimson, add some more water to it so it's nice and juicy. And let's see, I don't really want my cone to get pink on it because I don't think it's gonna, oh gosh, what's the word? It's not gonna look good on it, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna go like that. And then I'm also gonna just take a piece of, I don't even know what this is from. It feels kind of inexpensive paper. And I'm just gonna put it there because I don't really want a ton of splatter on that page either. So, all right, let's just splatter over here. maybe some minimal splatter. See why I put the paper there? Because it wants to go right on that page. All right, I think you know what? I'm going to put it right on the ice cream too, because then it kind of looks like sprinkles. I don't know if it will dry that way, but we're going to see. And we're back. It's dry. You know what I don't like? I don't like how it looks like I had a piece of paper sitting right here and how there's no splatter down here. So I'm going to take this little piece and go like that. And I'm going to try to just get some right here. I should probably try to cover this again because, you know, I would love to say I have control of where these splatters are going, but I do not. I know some people use toothbrushes and whatnot, but I just want a couple down here. Right? And then maybe just a couple over here as well. Okay, I think I'm happy. What do you think? Do you think you're going to give this a try? I hope you do. I think it was fun and, you know, it didn't take too long, you know, maybe a little bit time consuming with the little shading, but all in all, you know, 20 minutes, under 20 minutes, not too shabby. This would make an adorable birthday card, just like a invite to a summer party, just a little card to say hello to somebody, whatever you might come up with. You know I love to hear from you if you do give it a try. Those of you who may be watching my channel for the first time today, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please subscribe so that you can see all of my future videos, which all lean towards beginner friendly. And honestly, this is one of my longer videos, so most of my videos are pretty quick as well. All right, enough of that. You take good care, and I hope to see you next time.